Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by 10th Man, the Adam Meakin, Refracted Curvature, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Gilded, so welcome one and all.
Afternoon, everyone.
One enthusiastic bunch. Thanks, Adam. It's good to have you here.
Has everyone run off?
I don't know. We went from uber high enthusiasm, and then it's like a kid on a sugar come down. You know, everyone's a bit.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. The one person beyond the actual show moderator in Gilded that's in Gilded. Thank you for replying. Much obliged. Well, it's going to be a slow start, ladies and gentlemen, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun and learn about how the Earth is flat. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge, that's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve.
Do I have to go through this again?
Well, if it exists below surface level, according to their math.
Yeah, you're going to need a flat plane to measure anything. If you say below surface level, below surface level, you mean the level surface that we're measuring and navigating. Below that level, that's where the curve exists, in the maths, below surface level.
In their math that they're trying to get us to reify. Yeah, that's, I guess, where it exists.
I see. Yeah, it only exists in the maths according to the rumpus. Never a true word spoken. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm spinning.
You are? How much did you drink?
No, it's just because the celestial seems to be moving around us. So I'm just going to assume I'm spinning then. Because what? The entire universe is rotating around us? No, that seems very egocentric to take that vantage point. So I'm just going to assume that we're spinning underneath the universe then.
I see. Why would you make such an assumption?
Because that's my proof of axial rotation?
That's your proof of axial rotation.
Wait,
Hello.
it's not.
Sounds a bit like
Assumption
Edward
is
Hubble's
99%
excuse.
of the world believes it.
Anybody know what he's babbling on about? I don't.
I can only think Alwyn's the same as Edwin Hubble. That the reason the universe can't be rotating around him is because he's just a mere human. And that would be, is it inconceivable, such a thing, that the universe would revolve around us? So is it your humility that means it's rotating, Alwyn?
Yes, humility. Yes, of course. That's it.
What consequences would you have if you were right on a spinning platform called the Earth?
Well, that all depends on how serious
No, it
you're going
don't.
to take things like forces and momentum, and especially
Well-
angular momentum, you know, if you're going to take that into account.
Well, the stars are moving, and you're saying it's because the Earth is spinning. Am I right?
Well, something is spinning, right? And then I brought down the dichotomy of, oh, is it me or is it the entire universe? So that was my solution.
Well, take a position. Is the Earth spinning? Is that why we see the stars moving? Is that your position?
Not necessarily,
Oh, okay.
but something
What's-
is spinning, so we don't know which one.
What's the
If it
radius
was
of
the
the
Earth
Earth?
spinning, if it was the Earth spinning, what should we see, Tenth Man?
So
Sorry,
I
say
like
again?
what John is saying. John, go on with what you were saying.
But before we can assert that it has an axis to spin upon, we need to measure a radial value.
Well, let's answer that as the next question
But
then.
do
Any
we,
evidence of the
though?
art? My bad.
Oh,
Any evidence of
Took
the
all the
art?
fun out of it.
I'm not done yet, Nathan.
Oh, sorry.
He was asking, like, don't you need a radius for that? And I'd say no. If something is spinning, whether it is you or everything around you, wouldn't that automatically infer a radius, even whether you measured it or not?
But just changing prerequisite or requirement to inference, it doesn't alter the fact that you're going to need a radial value if you're going to assert you're spinning.
Yeah, but wouldn't it already be there if something is spinning?
Drag it out some more so I can't concisely get it into the radius question. Any evidence of the R value for Earth as a sphere?
Well, something
Negative.
seems to be spinning, whether it is the Earth or the universe. So, and if something is spinning, well, there would have to be a radius somehow.
Yeah, we got that. Oh, John, can you deal with him?
I just answered your R value question with the previous.
No, you
No.
didn't.
Two different R's, aren't they, John?
Yes, sir.
Which are you talking about, Arwen? Your radial R or your spherical
He's
dimension?
addressing John.
R?
He's addressing John and segueing it, trying to tie it back into the globe question, but, well, only answering John. That's why I asked John to deal with him.
Sorry, ask again?
I give up. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Over there?
Was that
Well,
Arwen?
Yes,
Hold on,
it's
you
over
have-
there, but if there has to be some kind of distance if the entire universe is spinning around us or we are spinning underneath it.
Hold on. In schools all over the world, they're being taught that it's 93 million miles away. Okay? So there you have it.
Well, I don't know about that, but it would have to have a distance, wouldn't it? If either the universe is spinning around us or we are spinning in between the universe.
Well, you're assuming that the universe is spinning instead of just saying the stars are spinning now. Like, they're just lights.
Well, wouldn't they have to be? I mean, either everything is spinning around us, and that would imply everything in the universe, or we are spinning underneath it. I mean, you
I
can't have either one or the other.
I can shine a light on a disco ball, and it seemed that the lights on the walls are spinning. That doesn't mean that the walls are spinning.
Well, where's the barrier then? Where's
I
your
guess
dome?
whatever keeping in the gas.
You
Yeah,
trouble
but
there,
that's not my
Arwen.
question. I'm not asking the question to justify whether there is gas or not. I'm asking it, oh, so it's projected on something? Well, where's that
No,
something that is
no, I
projected
didn't
on
make
then? That's
I
why
didn't
I'm
make
asking
that.
about the dome.
I did not make that assertion. I just pointed out that your proof was faulty.
Quick
Why?
shout out, sorry to interrupt, to Theo Megaweti, who says, if you times jumps by humidity, is that humility? Humility. By humility, how many blue you get? Just try that once more, unless someone wants to translate. If you times jumps by humility, how many blue you get? Thank you for the super chat. Also, shout out to Godzilla 37, who says
Nice. He's handing out membership.
gifted 5 memberships. Okay, I don't understand how that works, but thank you very much. Can someone explain that to me? I don't understand what Godzilla's just done.
Well, he's given 5 memberships to 5 other people. He's assigned them. You can do that apparently, and just bulk buy it and then hand them out. I've seen other people do it too.
Oh wow. Okay. I thank you very much. You've given people memberships to my channel, Godzilla.
Hold
wow.
on, do they pay for that?
Obviously, he pays for it, and I profit from it. I mean, thank you on multiple levels. I'm a little bit taken back. Thank you, Godzilla.
What a guy.
What a guy. Anyway, I'm sorry to break up the flow,
He's-
Arwin.
He's
Shall I
a,
ask
he's
another
a smart
housekeeping
guy. He's
question
got
to
the
get us back on
presence of
track?
mind.
Want me to ask another housekeeping question?
I didn't hear you. Temptress rumpus in you.
I'll ask another
I thought it was-
housekeeping question. Any evidence?
So
of
you're
the
not going to continue the interview?
interview?
Sorry, I mean, I kind of solved the housekeeping question. You're just ready
No,
to
you
move
didn't.
on.
Somebody slap
Just
him.
that interview.
Ugh. I'm gonna ask another housekeeping question, Arwin. I'm gonna have to tame you somehow.
Well, just pulling back to all what he was saying there was all based with physicality assumption bias.
Okay,
Oh,
let's just,
definitely.
let's just get this train wreck back on
Hey!
track. Arwin's
Don't
ruining the
use
show.
my own concepts agast me.
The best weapon.
Hold on. You were
against
talking
all
about
this.
the distance. You were talking about the distance of the sun, correct? Did anybody see Brian's video? He put it in, I think, the War Room. A little short video of all the sunsets, the sun sitting in the middle of the sky. So what is it?
I think that the sun is a side effect of the actual sunlight and not the other way around. It's just our mind that turn it into an object because of its significance within our sight. But that it is basically just a side effect. I think that the entire sun itself, and that would include, by the way, the moon as well, they're like a lens flare that's just bizarrely consistent and detailed. That's what I really think it's more like. Now, where is that light all coming from? Yeah, that's the big mystery, It's coming from somewhere.
I'm happy with that. I just do not know.
That works for me.
Hold on a second. It's sitting right up in the sky, and you're going to say you don't know? This is the problem, and this is what my son says to me. You just sit there and say you don't know. You have no answers for anything, and you want me to be a flat earther. Well, I don't want you to be a flat earther, but
Well,
it seems like we have no
what's
answers.
better?
Sorry,
A
just
What's
fallacy
better?
is
Having
better than
answers
nothing.
that are obviously
sorry,
wrong
guys.
or not
Godzilla comes before you guys. I'm really sorry. Thank you very much to Godzilla37, who says, yes, it's an option in the super chat selection. They each get a month free memberships, obviously, and you get a cut. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, Godzilla. Thank you so much. I don't know how you assign them to particular people. Don't super chat me again to tell me. I mean, obviously, if you want it, fine. But yeah, that's wonderful. I can't believe that's something that you can do, and you've done it, and that's wonderful. I don't know who. Maybe you can tell me who you've assigned them to. Presumably, you just get to pick particular people that you like in the chat and say, you get a membership, and you get a membership, and you get a membership, and you get a membership. Cool. Thanks again, Godzilla37. Sorry to interrupt everyone else in G+.
Got the names if you want to give them a shout, Nathan.
You've got them.
Sweet.
Can you do it for me?
I can
I'll
see 'em,
obviously
yeah,
figure
yeah.
out how to do this in the future.
It's underneath it. They're just listed up. So Susie S, Michael Jones, Titan Long, Hither Tither, and Nicholas Pitts, all gifted from Godzilla.
Well, welcome as members. You get to see the Uncut and After show as soon as it gets published, which is obviously as soon as it gets recorded and uploaded. Thank you very much, Godzilla37, also for the super chat. Another super chat. They grab them when announced. I don't choose them. All right. So people who want the memberships get to just, it's a grab bag. If you want a membership, you go, I want that membership. Cool.
Everybody else knows what's going on in your show but you. That's good.
If a fallacy is better than nothing, Neil, that is what your son is saying.
Oh, he wants answers.
Yeah, that was my statement.
He wants answers, and he demands you give them to him.
Well, he knows my position on it, but it's funny that he wants answers, so that means he's not satisfied with his answers. You got me?
Well, he's not willing. He's
Well,
not
this,
willing. He's not willing to relinquish his story until you find a replacement for it. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Well, why would you want to replace your story if you're happy with it? I'm sorry, Ken. Go ahead.
Because otherwise
What?
you don't have anything. You don't have a story. You just have this hole
Wow,
and you don't
Ken,
know
your
anything.
voice has changed.
I know.
I don't understand what the sun has to do with the Earth being flat or a ball. We need a radius for it to be a ball, and we don't have an R value.
Well, to measure angles to the sun, you would need a flat Earth. So there's that.
I know, I'm just trying to say, why look at stuff in the sky and say, well, I must be standing on one of those things? Why not measure what you're standing on?
Yeah, that always got me too. Like, why? Because it seems like everything is a sphere. You know, the heavenly body is a sphere, so we must be a sphere. Never
Well,
got that.
It's circular, for sure, but what does that mean about what you're on? That's up there. We're on this. What is this? So we should see curvature. We don't. We measure elevation angles. You need a flat baseline from GP to GP of observer and the luminary you're sighting with the sextant. And that goes for thousands and thousands of miles of a flat baseline. How could that ever even come close to the curvature of an Earth at 1.22 miles times the square root of the observer's height in feet?
Some things are you.
At 1 foot, it's supposed to be 1.22 miles out.
But it's not.
Well, then it's not a ball.
There you go.
Golly.
Okay. I forgot where we are now. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nathan, did
Ah,
you
no,
you
it's a
not
work
just hear
in
what he
progress.
said?
No. I was trying to get the chat to come up on a different selection of Discord. Since I've got the new computer, it's all been rearranged, so I'm slowly working through it in the live shows. But thank you. No, I wasn't actually listening on
Well,
that occasion.
Ken took us through the black swan. No curvature, no movement, so therefore it cannot be a ball. And you ask for any evidence of a molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth? I don't get the question.
P waves and S waves, Neil.
You need a flat plane for them.
Earth sonogram.
It's a package deal, Neil.
Well, if there are answers to these questions, then why are the ballers not knocking down the doors to get in here and give us the answers? I'm told that the show repeats itself and repeats itself. Yes, it does. First of all, we're not getting any answers to these things, proving that, well, not proof, but we're demonstrating that they have no evidence for what they claim.
Another shout out to IFE Ayahuasca. IFE? Ether? Eth? How would you say that?
Ivy Avosika. Avosika. I don't know. It's a weird name.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. I did catch an actual live show. Did I catch an actual live show? Yes, you did. You are indeed being shouted out live. Hi, Nathan and crew. Globe believers never know how to respond to "you need R for that," in quotes. No, they don't know how to respond to that because they just have to provide you with an R measurement, which they haven't got. So, no, they are pretty scuppered when they are asked for R because we debunk it on a daily basis. So that's good stuff. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
You serious?
Well, if I have a conceptual medium that light is propagating through as well as gravitational waves, is there any problem with that assumption?
What's a gravitational wave?
A wave of gravitons.
No, no.
What's a graviton?
It's a pure model. They made a model that there's supposedly like ripples of gravity happening. It's conjured out of absolutely nothing. They literally made up that fictional story and then tried to reify it with some device that supposedly picked that up. It's not. I don't even think it's really canon. I mean,
There was a-
they picked it up as part of the story, but it's not really officially recognized too much. They haven't really elaborated upon gravity waves and all that nonsense. So,
They built LIGO to find them.
oh yeah, sure. Oh, they'll find it, or
Hmm.
they'll look for it
Sorry
for
to
sure.
interrupt.
But
Can you turn your speakers down just a smidge, Jarwin?
Right. They built LIGO to find them. So LIGO is probably in the billions of dollars for something that's not canon.
I don't know. I think I saw ripples of gravity next to Cabernet Isle.
What's LIGO do? What is LIGO?
It's
Anyone?
that place that found the God particle.
What's it do though? What is it?
They shoot things, right?
No, I thought LIGO was that.
That's CERN. Yeah. What's
that's
LIGO?
CERN.
Anybody other than Neil?
telescope.
The laser interferometry, they send it down, don't they, along that massive flat level length, and I think it's the return. They then claim you can notice if there's a gravitational waves pass through it. So it's on a right angle, isn't it? I think one going north, south, and one going east, west. And something in the interferometry within that means you can detect gravitational waves. The only bit I really remember is that they were struggling to rule out certain things that were interfering with it, and they found out that microwave in the canteen was ruining the results. So yeah, if stuff like that's doing it, and trains traveling and stuff in distances and stuff, apparently they were affecting it. You just wonder.
According to Wiki,
Yeah.
hold on.
So
According
it's-
to Wiki,
so
the
it's
Laser
two sets.
Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory is a large-scale physics experiment. Oh, experiment, huh? An observatory designed to detect cosmic gravitational waves and to develop gravitational wave observations as an astronomical tool. That's what Wiki says. So what Adam said.
Adam, what is next to LIGO that has water in it?
Great Big Canal.
What's it used for?
Level.
Okay.
I just don't understand, like, how is it supposed to pick up gravity waves when microwaves from down the street are picked up? Well, do microwaves create gravity? Why is it picking up microwaves? Shouldn't it be picking up gravity ripples? Like, what?
Just looked it up on Google and yeah, why not? It says, if you like. It can be whatever you want.
So what was
It
the
seems
observed
like-
phenomena in the experiment?
Good question. Any scientific evidence of gravity? Let's start with the observed phenomena.
Well, microwaves in a canteen influencing LIGO?
What?
It was that all in, and it was that old trains, and they were interfering with it. And what I was going to make was if you've got things like that ruining your results, how the hell do you rule out everything to interpret that you've just received a gravitational wave from an exploding star 3 billion years ago?
Yeah, that was my question, especially if it's picking up, well, non-gravity things.
It struck me as one of those, you know, when we had the bouncing the radar off the sun, and they go, oh, we can't see it, and then somebody who's more invested goes, no, look, it's there. You look, you know, you've got to look in this spot here, and I just wonder how the hell you would pretend to look at the right time point to intercept a gravitational wave from an explosion 3 billion years ago. it just seems one of those fantastical tales to me. It just seems complete fantasy. It doesn't seem something you could identify, because surely this wave, what do we do? Do we see it explode first, then calculate at what time the wave will arrive to look? We just wait around for 100 years, a million years. You know what I mean? What is it? Does it do something special on the detector? Not as far as I can tell. That's the trouble, ruling out all of these other parameters that cause similar effects.
Well, how do they even know it is a wave if you can't get a wave pattern out of it?
Well,
It's obviously a wave. My goodness. How much did this thing cost, Adam?
Lots of
appeal
multiple-
to
Okay.
appeal to dollar value fallacy. What the hell?
No. Okay, let's just say it cost a lot of money. It picked up microwaves. All that money to pick up a microwave signal.
Right. It
It's an-
sounds just like a really careful spying station, but gravity?
Well, at least with the train example, they were on the right track.
Well, I'm glad they built it nice and level so they can have a good flat baseline to measure their results with. That was really important.
Well, you
Any-
got things like
Kind of sounds to
LIGO
me like
and
it's just a
Hold on,
overly
hold on, Alwyn.
sensitive thing
Hold
that-
on. Go ahead, Neil.
well, you got things like LIGO and then CERN. They say CERN is the world's largest and most respected center for scientific research. The problem is pseudoscience, it sounds like to me.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what's
Yeah.
the phenomena? We're still. Did we cover that? Like 2 minutes ago.
There is none.
Hang on. We just have to establish if there's a microwave in the CERN cantina first.
Hold on. Is a microwave? Are microwaves the studied phenomena that at CERN? Then is that what they're claiming they're studying? Microwaves.
Yes, microwaves create gravity to heat food. Don't you know that?
Hold on. That's a step. That's a step beyond. Where'd you get from microwaves? Okay, microwaves I'll accept exist in nature. Yeah, cool. So we're studying microwaves. Is this the science of microwaves then? Light.
No, it's as far as I'm aware, it's any disturbance in the return pattern of the lights that would indicate that a gravitational wave has
Oh, hold on.
passed through.
Stop. Any deviation in the return pattern, is that
Yeah.
your naturally observed phenomena then? Where's that occurring in nature?
Well, Nathan, you
Ah,
gotta think
Adam.
of it like
Ah.
listening to spooky ghost sounds on tapes, right? It's
I'll
kind of
determine
like
what
that.
it is. Yeah, I know what it is. I've seen it. I'm playing dumb, Arwin, just so we can get the conversation to be concise for those who don't know. So I was asking Adam, though.
That's what is set up within the experiment. I don't know how you would equate that to a natural phenomenon.
So pink writing time, if it was CERN and Professor from CERN in front of us, okay, what's the naturally occurring phenomena in pink writing? What's he going to, in your estimation, right? What's he going to be writing down, or what's QE going to be writing down as a response?
If variation in return path.
Where's that observed in nature? This is the natural.
I don't know, but this is what
Isn't
you've
that
got.
measurements, though?
Then
Everybody else,
gravitational wave.
just let Adam
But
nicely,
gravitational
concisely.
wave.
Ugh. Hold on, John. I just want Adam to break down. If we had the pink writing up, it would be easier. Why are we all so lazy? Why haven't I just in Word? I mean, QE's presentation of the pink writing was about as low rent as you could get, right? But none of us have replicated it. But we'd cut through this in about 3 minutes, wouldn't it?
It's a painful process to get that technology back, isn't it?
Let's try once more. Just Adam, please. Just Adam. So, naturally occurring phenomena at LIGO is, drum roll,
A variation in the return of the light pattern.
that's not natural.
No, but you're not going to get one. There isn't one.
So there's no science at LIGO.
I said pseudoscience.
Yes, I'm backing your point here, Neil. Yes, that's right. Correct. As you correctly point out. It's pseudoscience then.
Well,
Would
there's
it be
no-
wrong to say?
Go on, John.
Go on, John.
I was just going to say, would it be wrong to say gravitational waves is the observed phenomenon that
Sure,
we're
if you
trying
can-
to observe?
Where are
Which
we
is what?
observing them in nature? And what are they?
We're trying to observe them, Nathan.
It's ask
Trying.
about face, I'm afraid. No. Step one is observe the natural phenomena. It's walking along in nature and going, oh, check that out. Now, that is going to be the phenomena I'm about to describe. And how did that, the phenomena that I'm looking at, going, wow, look at that. How did that happen? That's what science is interested in. So your step one is, check out that thing happening in nature. And then asking, how did that happen? And then formulating a hypothesis with a presumed cause of that effect that you saw. You try and induce the effect by varying something you presume caused it. That's what science is and does, if you describe it in a kind of reification way, which I'm not yet wrapping my head around how not to do. But in any event, the method of science starts with looking at something happening in nature and asking why it happened. So if we haven't got that, return signals from... No. What are we
I've
seeing
got
in
one.
nature?
Right. If deja vu, then that was a gravity wave that just passed through me. It's as good as it's gonna get.
That's me. I can't put that in a bag and show it to someone else. I'm afraid. No.
Actually, I've been there before, Adam. The best thing is that it's aptly named because that's how far the lie goes.
Indeed.
Mm.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Well, I kind of liked what Adam just brought forth. So deja vu is like the displacement or within the bending of space-time in order to get another part of space-time, isn't it?
Hey, you see? Makes
No,
sense.
I
doesn't it,
see.
my
Yeah, you
dodgy
see.
brain?
The
missed
nonsense
it
waffle
all.
you came out with to try and shoehorn in a phenomena on their behalf was admirable. Arwin agreeing with you isn't.
How about my pun?
Well, Nathan, how do you expect us to make scientific discoveries if you don't let us look for things that we know that are there that we haven't ever experienced?
Because it's asked about. I just answered this. It's asked about face. The wrong way round. You start by going, what caused that to happen? But you've got to see that happening to ask why it happened, to start investigating how and why it happened by varying a presumed cause to see if you can make it happen. If it hasn't happened, what are you trying to induce when you vary something? Well, you're just not doing science if this is the case. Now, it might be that you're trying to advance some sort of technology. You know, you're basically troubleshooting. That might be the case, and that's very admirable too. But it's not science, it's technology.
No, it's
You
deja
can't
vu.
manipulate something that isn't manifested.
It's deja vu, and you missed everything.
You're only manipulating something to try and induce it. So when you say, how do you manipulate it if it's not yet manifest? Well, then you're not going to be studying it because you see it manifest and ask why it happened.
Yeah,
No,
what
you're
caused
missing
to be
it.
Non-manifest. That's the question, you know.
If it's
I think
deja
your
vu,
description.
Let me
If
just
it's-
let me just address Arwin. That's absolutely fine, Arwin. It's just not science.
I
okay,
think your
Nathan.
definition of science is limiting discovery, Nathan.
On the contrary, any naturally occurring phenomena can be put through that method. Far from being limited in terms of the scope of what it can investigate, it's limited to cause and effect reasoning only. So if it's not a cause and effect relationship and you're asking what is, then you're not going to be putting that through the scientific method either because nothing's happening at step one. Why did that happen? If you're looking at a piece of rock, that's not happening. It's just a rock. It's a concrete noun. So yeah, there's limitations in terms of the scope in that regard. But no, if you've got a cause and effect relationship to establish in nature, then you can put it through that method. It's not limited in that regard. The way it establishes the cause of the effect is extremely narrow and extremely limited because it's a method that leaves you with empiricism at the outcome. Well, that's not going to be really broad, is it? It's specific. It's going to have very, very narrow investigative logic. If A then B or if A not B, that's pretty limited. But that's what you have to endure if you're going to acquire empiricism at the end of the method. You know, no one's asking you for, I want to be able to empirically prove things, but in a kind of vague, broad way.
Nathan, what's
Why,
deja vu?
I don't know. Who cares? Who?
Well,
Deja
no, I'll
vu.
tell you, you miss everything. Adam said it's already happened. If it's deja vu,
Okay, so that's you're saying.
Please.
Sorry, let me get just ask something. So you're saying LIGO's studying deja vu?
well, that's what Adam said, and I said, well, that makes sense because it's already happened.
The LIGO is a good example of an answer to the last housekeeping question in terms of any evidence of a scientific hypothesis. If you look at what they're postulating there with LIGO, and we humor it, we're saying if movement and the interferometry, then gravitational waves, and that's what they interpret. This is, say, not only have we not got a natural phenomenon, we've not even got a method of actually testing the machine. So all we can do is have this piece of technology set up and then say, when we can't rule out anything else, it means this. But you can't even test it. When have they sent a gravitational wave through just to see if it's working? Even it does respond. What is a gravitational wave? Yet we've got an interpretation of an effect within a device that means a gravitational wave.
You reckon it's got a different purpose? Because obviously, the long and short of what we're discussing here is that it's nonsense. You know, you're not doing science, but it exists and it has cost a lot of money. I'm not going to deny that. But does that mean that ultimately there's probably another purpose for it that we just don't recognise? There's a technological advancement that's taking place at LIGO that may in time benefit us, and I don't know. Is it just literally a way to dump lots of money from black budget straight into some piece of crap? You know, I mean, I fail to accept that there's so much money poured into something with only our, you know, pulling apart of the surface level explanation for what it does as pseudoscience, which it is. I'm not denying that everything we've said here is correct. It is. It's just pseudoscience. But that is only the surface level narrative for what they're doing there. Obviously, I'm kind of asking the impossible if I say, well, what's beyond the surface level narrative? Because we wouldn't know, would we?
Well, you can figure it out. It's about detection, right? What is it doing? It is testing detection on a very sensitive scale, and that's probably what it's for. It's basically researching spy tech. That's what I think.
If anything, it goes to show that the people that are weaving this narrative are as lost as the people that believe it.
You build the structure and machinery for an assumption that you have, and you find out a microwave in the cantina gets registered. What does that prove?
I don't know.
I'll add to the conspiracy, Nathan. 1.1 billion is the cost of America's that was done in 2016. And I'm just seeing here, 2024, India's due to finish their 12.6 billion rupee. 107 Indians do it a lot cheaper, $177 million instead of 1.1 billion. And it's so there's another one. And like I say, if it's that crap and that dubious, and there probably is maybe another reason that if people keep building them.
Well, I suppose the
trying to
only
open up
thing you can do
portals.
is compare it to other things that would be considered like black holes for money. And one of them, obviously, we cover more frequently recently than we typically do. That's NASA. Well, if you actually look at the output of NASA, what are they achieving beyond pumping out rhetoric? Not a lot. I mean, maybe you can tell me where humanity is actually benefited from what they do. In other words, some tangible benefit beyond Velcro or microwaves or something, you know, pretty mundane. What is it that they've achieved for the billions that get pumped into it beyond the rhetoric? And if there isn't anything, then I'm sure that LIGO's probably the same. Just a way of giving us parallel universes in the future or some of the nonsense.
Have you ever seen the emblem for CERN? I think it's some Indian god or something.
Shiva, isn't it?
Well, just the
think
fact
so.
that it's over 1 billion US version and under 200 million Indian version. Yeah, these are the same people who've signed the Antarctic Treaty, and you would think they would just say, "Hey, can we share your 1 billion LIGO building for a week? We'll pay you $2 million." Why would you go build one?
As far as the infrastructure goes, though, do you know how many people that employs and how many people were
I
employed
was
to
thinking the
build
same
that?
thing.
So what? I don't. That's not what I'm asking. I can understand the infrastructure and economic benefit to the people who work there. I'm not asking about that. I'm asking about some tangible output that they produce. So if you had a pharmaceutical company set up, regardless of whether or not you agree with the particular medicine that they're churning out, they've got something quantifiable at the end of it, right? Now, I'm not saying, oh, well, they've got products so they're okay. That's not what I'm driving at. I'm just saying, where's the tangible product that NASA puts out? Is it just producing the propaganda of space? I would
Yeah.
suggest the answer is yes. Now, if you take LIGO and compare it as just yet another Western world black hole to chuck money at that promotes a rhetoric, that particular rhetoric might be as yet undisclosed, and then form part of whatever parallel universes we have going forward into the future. I say parallel universes because that seems to be the way that they're driving out or fizzling out the heliocentric nonsense, getting it all to be flat and parallel with all sorts of other universes and dimensions, and that kind of crap is working its way in through places like CERN and LIGO. Well, maybe they're just machines for religion. They're just the new altars. They're just the new churches. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Got a quote on screen from Nature, and that appears to be the exact purpose. Look, in 2015, LIGO's US detectors made the first discovery of gravitational waves, energy produced and radiated by the collision of two black holes, thereby confirming Albert Einstein's prediction and launching a new way of studying the universe. So that is the product, just reaffirming Einstein and continuing on with a new bit of kit, the same paradigm.
Right. So yeah, they're the new altar. They're the new gadget and gizmo to promote heliocentric nonsense. Wow, isn't it expensive? I mean, it just cracks me up when people start comparing things like this, which is presumably going to be the religion of the future for anybody who doesn't have a religion, with old school style methods of doing the same thing. You know, we'll in 100 years from now be talking about NASA in that vein, you know, with old school religious strangleholds that they had over the people. And you're not going to look many 100 years back to see different strangleholds. They weren't always heliocentric. But just to see the huge amounts of money they chuck into it is just quite unbelievable, really.
Why are you saying it's a religion of the future when it's currently the religion now?
Because it seems to be taking, or it did take a bit of a turn, 107 years ago. We're talking specifically about Einstein. Well, a lot of the old heliocentric descriptions fall apart in terms of a globe Earth worldview. Now, a lot of the more recent, government-funded heliocentric religions put on the back burner in favour of describing parallel dimensions. And then when they link back that to the universe in terms of Einsteinian geodesics, again, they're talking about planes and describing the geodesics that bend through them, aren't they?
I disagree entirely. Here's why. What happened 107 years ago is kept in a little tidy bag until you hit university. From kindergarten to university, it's everything as it was.
Yeah, but once they've got everything squared away in terms of how the rhetoric will move forward, with a relinquishment of mass attracting mass at a preschool level almost, once that happens, I mean, that has to happen because...
No, let me explain. The current situation and why people look at us as retards. You're a flat earther? What do you wear, a tinfoil hat? What's wrong with you? Everybody knows the earth is a globe. Okay, we all get that at times. Maybe not in those words exactly, but very similar. The reason for that is because since birth, they've been exposed to the globe. From movies, they're exposed to the globe in outer space. From news and media, always talking about something being shot up to go somewhere that doesn't actually exist. So it's being emphasized and re-emphasized. All of a sudden, the guy sees you and you start saying, you know, I think they've been lying to us. I think if you put everything they say to a test, they're going to have an empty bag. There's no evidence for what they're saying. And
I have some. Sorry.
I'm in the middle of something. So what happens is we run into these people who are conditioned, and then for them, it's severe cognitive dissonance to have two opposing ideas in their head at the same time, because one is saying, well, if this is true, then all of that was a lie, and I've been a willing lab rat, allowing them to input all these things in my head. And then this guy tells me that's all wrong, and I'm wrong. Now the pride kicks in and the conditioning kicks in. And that's why under your show and other things, it says this is an archaic view of the earth that the ancients had. You see, it's all there to condition these people that when they run into truth, like our channel and what we show, they castigate us, they make us look stupid, when in reality, all the systems are in place to keep them in the line.
I agree. I'm going to back you up right here because they're on a mission, and the mission is to push pseudoscience. Our mission is to provide a unique range of particle accelerator facilities that enable research at the forefront of human knowledge, a form of world-class research in fundamental physics, unite people from all over the world to push the frontiers of science, but it's really pseudoscience and technology for the benefit of all. So they are trying to continue to push pseudoscience and continue to have people lost and confused.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Negative.
If you could just get past this flat plane, we could talk about how
I
it's a
get-
sphere.
What are you
Protothad.
getting hung up on that for?
Well, Protothad comments on these videos daily. He's like one of those butthurt ballers that become the biggest fan of the show. Although they're obviously in the comments saying, you're wrong. You don't realise that when you quote all of these citations about measuring an elevation angle, they're not talking about measuring the ground. That was his most recent comment. So I went back to him and took out of one of the citations. But it's a line between the sun and the ground you're standing on. Like, it's there in black and white. It's clearly about the ground. We're navigating the ground. But they're delusional. But they end up becoming our greatest fans by, hanging around watching the show and specifically mentioning when we mention them, in jest about how they've told us that we should get over the flat plane that needs utilisation. But they're not mentioning it about the ground when we utilise a flat plane that we're standing on. That's not talking about the ground we're standing on. When you measure the flat plane we're standing on to get an angle from the ground you're standing on, in the quote that says, from the ground you're standing on.
I'm
You're
assuming
getting caught up with the ground.
I'm assuming he's referencing a sextant here. Am I right?
Yeah, it's Protothad. The guy who came here to basically ask us, or reiterate McToon's challenge, which may have been his challenge. I forget. I lose track of this nonsense. But how we were going to overcome this challenge where they used flat Earth elevation angle measurements, gave them to us and said, well, how does this work on a flat Earth? And we went back and went, the angles that you're asking us about were measured off a flat plane.
Yeah, well, my point is this. The sextant has a horizon mirror. What Prototad is talking about is a bubble sextant that does not use the horizon mirror, but a spirit level to mirror, what's underneath you, because it has to have the same distance. Because if you have a guy at the seashore and another guy next to him, one holding a mariner sextant with a horizon mirror, and say 6 feet from the ground of where the surf meets the ocean, the land, then he's got to do a dip correction of 6 feet to get his eyeball on the ground. But the other guy with the bubble sextant says, well, I don't need to do that because I'll just match you. I'll be a parallel. I'll have this horizontal at my eye line with the spirit level, so I don't need to use Earth's horizon. And you go ahead and use the Earth's horizon and do your dip correction, and we'll have the same distance on the ground as it is in the air in the fictitious, right? Fictitious horizontal, because the bubble is giving you what the ground is, the distance from GP to GP. So they know what they're doing. They can never say what they say with the sextant, with the horizon mirror. They could only do it with an artificial horizon that matches what the Earth is. That's why the word artificial is there.
I think we covered all the housekeeping questions, did we not? Not bad. With 10 minutes remaining.
Gas pressure without a container.
Covered it.
Did we?
Yeah, I asked
I
it.
think we bypassed it when it was asked.
I asked it and now just rumpusted it.
Exactly.
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon for all the fundamentalist religious zealots who believe that the sky is a vacuum, an empty space that the gas we breathe would fill?
You'd think that would open up people's eyes when they realize you can't have gas pressure without containment. But it
It does,
didn't.
Neil. No, it does, Neil. It does open up their eyes. Then the cognitive dissonance kicks in because all their life they've been told to lie. And now they're confused because instead of realizing, my gosh, I've been lied to, they tried to say, no, I haven't been lied to. You're crazy.
So is that what happened to QE?
But
What I would-
look, that's happening to your son. Your son has been lied to since birth. You come and share these things. And instead of saying, yeah, Dad, the world lies, governments lie, media lies, people lie, and I guess NASA lies too, and all these schools that are set up on millions of dollars of, courses that deal with this, they're lying too. I can't believe how far the lie goes. Instead of doing that, he defends the lie.
I just want to know about the equilibrium between the outer space vacuum and the gas on Earth ball. Like, how is gravity keeping it there? That would be nice to know. But assuming that it does, then what determines like the weight
What's
ratio
gravity?
of the Earth in order to keep? How much weight does how much gas keep to the ball? Right. This
what
is also a
gravity are
question
when-
with the other planets out there.
The issue with the question there was the word equilibrium. When you say equilibrium, no.
No, okay.
No. Well, there'd just be entropy increase. There's not going to be a point where it reaches equilibrium. I mean, the point of equilibrium for gas that's at pressure is when it dissipates into the availability of volume that it has to fill. Well, once it's completely dissipated, in other words, it's if you release, like in that example that we have with bromine, the guy releases bromine from one container full of bromine into a vacuum that has nothing in it. And there's a moment, a fraction of a second, where it's diffusing into the available volume, right? But then it reaches equilibrium. In other words, it's all bouncing around and it's at whatever pressure it's at. It's filled the availability of that vacuum, which is obviously no longer a vacuum, it's full of bromine. Well, that equilibrium has only been achieved because it's filled the available volume. Well, if space is the availability of volume, all of the gas we breathe would have to fall in line with entropy law and fill that space. And once it filled it, in other words, all of the gas we know and experience is spread out equally throughout the known claim to be heliocentric space, that's outer space, that we say is fake. Well, if the gas we're breathing is dispersed throughout all of space, i.e. equilibrium, then we'd have no gas to breathe. And that occurrence would happen before we even achieved gas pressure. The first gas particle would come out of the ground and accelerate out into space and just never stop. And then so with the second and the third and the fourth, and you'd never achieve gas pressure if space was real. It isn't. It's fake. Space isn't real. We'd have no gas to breathe. That's
Well
why.
said.
Isn't this
I totally agree, but I did already preface my statement about the equilibrium that it is already assuming that there is some ability through gravity or weight to keep the gas to the ball. And I was just curious, what is How much weight
Much
does
weight.
it require to have how much gas sticking to that ball within the possibility paradigm?
Gas doesn't stick to a ball. My goodness. How
And
many
what is
fallacies
weight?
are you
Their
going to
model.
throw?
It does in their model, though. So I
Okay,
wonder
so
in
I
their
could
model,
do-
how much weight does it require to catch
Why
how
would-
much gas?
Why would you ask a question of their model of gas sticking when reality shows you gas doesn't stick to a ball? It's a fallacious argument from the beginning. Gravity is not a force.
And they don't
Ollie,
even have a
Fine.
model.
I was straw manning. I know.
Ollie.
What else can I do?
How much in their model does the Earth weigh?
I don't know. How much does it?
I don't know. That's how much is needed.
What did Cavendish experiment result? What was it?
It doesn't
It
matter
wasn't
what
an
number it is, does it?
experiment.
That'll be the number that's needed to keep it there.
He never claimed
Yes,
to measure the
that
weight
that
of
is a fair enough assessment, but still, I want to know then, like, but there's other planets out there, supposed gas planets. What's keeping? How much gravity do they have? How much weight do they have somehow to keep that gas? So there must be a linear
What makes you
relation.
think they're
with it.
planets?
Well, isn't Jupiter a gas giant in their world? So
Yeah, but they don't know what is on the inside. They can't.
they said it's a gas giant. That's what they say.
Well, most of it seems to be, but that doesn't mean all of it is. Who
Most
knows
of
what's
it
on the
seems to
inside?
be.
There could be a black hole on the inside for all we know.
So we're back to gas lamps in Narnia.
Could be a Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh gosh.
Just for a little side note, when the anti-flat earthers point to a gas pressure gradient, how do you have a gas pressure gradient without having gas pressure first?
You don't.
Weight attraction over distance. Less attraction over distance, so less grabbiness on the gas, so it becomes less
attraction.
Can you
friction.
demonstrate that?
Attraction.
So you would
Yes.
need gas first.
Just
You would
walk
need gas-
outside and look. There's a gradient.
Okay, Brenda.
So you would need gas first before you could have this gradient.
Well, yes, but that doesn't mean that can't just be held here through gravity somehow. No matter what it is, really, that's not relevant to this matter. But
You keep saying that word, but it doesn't exist. This word gravity. You have to prove that first.
I specifically said that it's not relevant.
Well, then you can't
let's
use
not.
it.
Wow.
But it's here though, so we just have to assume
If it's not
that there's
relevant-
something there. We don't know what gravity is, but somehow it's keeping this gas to the ball. So
Somewhere in my room is $1 million in cash. I just can't find it though.
But you're a millionaire.
Right. That's the special pleading fallacy part of it, right? Asserting that we always experience gas pressure in a container, but when it comes to Earth on this big scale, it doesn't do that.
what doesn't do it?
The gas that surrounds Earth, it doesn't need a container because this is a special case, right?
No, it does. I mean, but there is something counteracting against this because the gas is sticking to the ball. So if that is the case and there's an infinite outer space vacuum, then, well, we don't exactly know how, but something must be keeping that gas to the ball because it's here.
What-
We're breathing
What
it.
ball? What ball?
I was giving him the ball. I just wanted to see gas pressure without a container. It's still yet to be.
No,
So-
I know he's just having fun, but he has to demonstrate an R value. He's got to demonstrate gas pressure without a container. He fails on both those.
You're just trying to scattergun me because
That's all.
I'm making a deadly
You're
argument.
the
here.
one with the scatter gun. You're the scatter gun guy.
Exactly, projection.
Now
pure
you're
projection.
projecting.
Yes, he is. But he did ask you, what ball? Might as well answer that question at least. You went silent when he said, what ball? Because it's going to keep the pressure on the ball. What ball? What ball is it going to keep the pressure on, Owen?
The ball Earth. The one that seems so locally flat and And terrestrial refraction makes the R value very impossible to measure, but it doesn't matter because everything is turning around us and it's at this consistent rate, and it's very easy to derive. Even if there's visual distortion everywhere, you can still make out that it has to be a ball.
If you say so. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live and you've got a free membership, then a massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Gilded and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!